to be honest, it's like you would have thought that, you know, as your children get older, it would be easier to live with them. But to be honest, I think it is actually easier to live with them when they're younger. Because it's like you could say to them, you know, do this, do that. You know, you had more control. And, you know, it's like when you had enough of them, they say, go to your bed, you know. Now it's like they've got no bedtime. You know, you can't just tell them what to do just like that. You know, it's like they've got their own lives, they've got their own things doing. But so you kind of feel
because you want to relate to them as two adults. You're an adult, they're an adult,
but they're still
their mind. I think, especially, maybe I'm wrong, but especially children that live at home. I think because they are at home and we still do a lot of things for them as parents. They're in that comfort zone, and when you relay a lot of things to them, it's usually yes or okay, but there's no action afterwards, you know.
Yeah, and I think as well, sometimes I think they kind of feel because they're adults now that, you know, they're living on the same level as you, as like you're house sharing. And sometimes you've got to remind them that, no, you're actually living in my house. Nothing has changed on that level. You know what I mean?
We're not quabs.
Yes, it's true.
You're never at the same level as your parents.
You know,
and even at 50, you know, we still have to show our parents that respect.
Exactly. And I think sometimes those, you know, you still got to keep on reminding them of these things, because honestly, it's like they kind of think, yeah, I'm an adult now, so you can't kind of say these things to me, or how you're talking to me, or, you know, and really, I kind of feel I shouldn't have to say certain things or have to talk to you in a certain way, because you are an adult, so you should automatically know certain things. But when I have to do it, you've got to do it. So it's infuriating, to be honest. It's like, as my mum used to say, there's only one ball that can be in a pen. And, you know.
You're the bull.
I mean, we started this conversation, and there are positives and negatives. Because when I think about my children, I think, the things that they've achieved, you can be very proud. All of our kids have achieved stuff that you're very proud of.
Definitely.
You think, in certain respects, they're quite advanced and they've matured, and that, you know, their personal development has really gone well. But in other ways, the maturity hasn't moved on as far as you'd have thought they would have.
I think, sorry.
No.
I was going to say that sometimes I think about, is it kind of to do with, not that they disrespect us, but, you know, like with us and our parents, the level of respect that we had, or maybe like, you know, like with our parents, we didn't discuss certain things, or we kind of saw our parents up there. It's like we always kind of knew the boundaries were firm, they were set. It's like we never crossed those lines, you know.
And actually clear saying that she's a breadwinner, and so she's working. She expects us to make sure that the house is clean and everything like that. But it was clear boundaries.
Very clear.
We knew what triggered her. So we
Just didn't do it.
Yeah,
avoided those
exactly.
triggers.
It's almost like they don't care about our triggers because they know what trigger us. You know.
Exactly. So you just do what you're supposed to do, and then everything's fine. But if you don't do it, obviously there are consequences.
I was going to say,
And it was simple.
maybe it is that they don't have the consequences are not serious enough like our consequences.
But then isn't that down to us as parents? Yeah, 100%. It has to be. That's down to parenting. How we parent our children, how we have parented our children who are now adult children. It's down to us. It's down to us.
And I think it's because we're not as strict as our parents were. I think that's why our kids get away with a lot of stuff. We weren't as strict as our parents, because as children we probably felt hard done by a lot of their rules. I mean,
yeah, but then the difference is with us, when we didn't want to comply to their rules, we thought, you know, I don't like how they're talking to us or what they're saying. Our mentality was like, I want to get out of here. Their mentality is like, no, you can't say this to me. You know,
but they're not going anywhere.
you know, I mean, what's gone wrong?
Yeah.
You know,
I don't. Obviously, our experiences are different. I say touch wood. So, I have one adult child at home, and it's actually fine. I as he's got older, I think going back to like when they were teenagers and they were like over 18, it was a bit.
Yeah.
I think maybe so one of them was a bit. You had to kind of reel him in as an adult. Yeah, but I think luckily the one that I have at home, that I don't have any problems with him. I really don't. I'm just like, I'm proud of what I'm proud of all of the boys. I'm proud of what he does. I think we have a very good relationship in terms of, I know you're saying about speaking, like how you speak to your parents, and I think, I'd like to think that he can speak to me about anything. And so that's the difference, isn't it? I guess with our parents, because
yeah, certain things we wouldn't
certain
talk
things you
about.
wouldn't discuss.
Yeah.
So I think that has an impact on how his behaviour is. I don't know. That's just going. I'm just going. I can't really relate to what you're saying, like because of my experience with my eldest, living in terms of what, like living at home, like what Cleo was saying about, you know, when you speak to them and
Okay.
so yeah, I don't know if I'm lucky or whatever. I mean, Ange, what are your thoughts?
Well, currently, like, I don't have any adult children living within the home that I'm
Living with.
Yay! However, my son is living at my flat on his own. And I think when they get to a certain age, you do need to separate. I love him to death, and our relationship, actually, we have a fantastic relationship. He will come to me about anything, any worries and so forth. I have to book, like, it's like I'll say to him, you know, let's meet at, you know, cafe or whatever to have brunch or whatever to kind of catch up with whatever it is, because his life is so busy with work and whatever. So it's still nice to catch up. But he will always, he knows that I'm at the other end of the phone and so forth. Going back to living together and stuff.
That's a different kettle of fish.
You know, I think when they get to a certain age, they need their own quarters. I think.
And do you, sorry to cut you, do you think more so boys than to girls?
Well,
considering that I've only got a son, I can't really compare.
So all right, yeah. So when you finish, we go to Cleo.
But you know, I mean, yes, he has his own space, but on the occasions when I go down there, you know, to me, it can be even. I think, and you're not living here, you're not living here. But you know, I don't want to see. To me, it's only him one. I don't want to see why is there plates in the sink? It's only him one. Wash up the one plate or whatever, or the cup or whatever.
But he would say
but he was.
It's his
space. Exactly. So I'm like, okay,
you have to leave him.
I just leave him. I don't say a word. I just, you know. But I know that, as I said, I know when we were living together, there were times when both of us are working and stuff. But I still expect him to do a share of what
the household,
the household chores.
Yes.
Because I can't be doing all of that because and it's two of us. So at the moment, I don't have the issues. Because as I said, he's in one place and I'm living in another, and he works out very, very well.
Yeah. So we're good. We're good. You guys, I mean,
me and Cleo in the middle here.
Yeah. And I want to ask Cleo about obviously the difference, because we obviously don't have girls. So the difference with boys and girls, do you think there's a difference?
I think there is a difference in girls are more wanting to get out of their parents' home. I mean, my daughter, she's 18, so she's still living at home. But her intention is, I want to get my own place. And I think she will be moving out, you know, quicker, then the boys will move out.
I
But I
always
think
say 2 women can live under the same.
yeah, and you know, but I think girls are more kind of like, want to go and forge their own homes. I think boys, I don't even know what boys think, you know, but I
They
think
don't.
you kind of feel sometimes that your situation, or obviously you speak to your friends and you kind of realise that everybody kind of is going through the same thing. But I didn't realise how big it was until you start seeing those little things on social media when, you know, people are there, you know, having these little skits where they're going to their kids' house when they move into their house and kicking off their shoes and opening the crisp packet on the settee and leaving the crumbs and pulling the toilet roll, like, you know, it will never end. And, you know, it's just little things like that. Like, you know, just in changing the toilet roll when it finished. You know, who meant to change it? The
last,
the maid?
And the bin is right there.
Yeah.
The bin is right there, and they'll put the empty
roll, the
roll.
empty roll part.
Why?
Oh, wow.
Why?
You know, and I think maybe if it was just one child or one adult child in the house, then it would be very direct. You can say it's you that's done it, yeah? But when there's a few,
Fingers
everybody
pointing
watchy, you know? Well, I didn't use the end piece or that last little piece there. It wasn't me that, you know, that person could have done that before. Everyone just
put the
watching
milk
each
bottle
other.
back in the
Oh,
fridge
who
with
left that spoon there? Oh, the spoon's left in the sink, so I can leave the plate in the sink. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it just gets silly, you know?
Yes,
And where does it end? So it's like, if it was just one child and it's you and them, maybe it would be a little bit different. But when you've got more, it just becomes ridiculous. And, you know, you then start to conjure up ways like thinking, what can you put in place to kind of make things better? Because, but you're kind of thinking, God, you're all
Why should
adults.
you have to? Yeah, they're adults.
You know?
I mean, the same thing you said. When my kids were younger, they were like, you know, it was like routine.
They had chores, they knew what
They had chores, they knew what they had to do, they did their own, there was no blaming the other person. And it was excellent. And I think it was like from about the teenager years up, it all changed. And you think to yourself, well, as Vera said, oh, it's up to the parenting, but you haven't changed how you parent them. And if they were good from 0 to 15 or 13,
18, up to 18.
why has it changed? All of a sudden,
Because
they
they're
become
adults,
a man
because,
and they
they're
believe that
adults.
they don't have to listen to you anymore, or it's okay to ignore you. Because my boys, they're never rude to me. You know, you ask them anything and it'll be yes, mum, or okay. But you know, you come back and it's like, okay, it's still there. Okay, it's still there. But you know, we would never do that. So,
but the one thing I can say that, you know, I haven't got that my mum has is she is very persistent, and that's one thing that I love about her. She is relentless. So she's sitting in there, she will sit down and say, you know, if the kids come in there and pick up the cup, she follow them to the kitchen. Wash out the cup, dry it up, put it in the oven. She's just on them, you know. Pick up the crumb, you drop the thing, fold up the clothes.
But we're not. You're not going to do
the energy.
But how's your mum got energy?
I don't know.
But that's draining.
But then it worked.
training, but it worked. Yeah, because I'm sure.
But she didn't have to do it for you guys.
No,
Because that is why she can do it now. But she didn't have
do that
to
for us.
because she'd installed it earlier.
I'm
So
telling
you didn't
you.
have to do it.
We knew what we had to do.
Yeah.
Whether it was, you know, if it was our turn to do the cooking, the Sunday dinner, even if we went out raving on the Saturday night and we come in 6 o'clock in the morning,
my
we just go straight into the kitchen and start cooking.
Yeah.
Because
why the difference? Why the difference?
No, but the thing is, Nors, right? I was the sort of mother that would wake up my kids and say, go and wash up the dishes.
It's true.
Yeah, if it was their night for the dishes and the dishwasher, I would wait and go and wash up the dishes. So I wasn't a big departure from my mother, you know, with like things that they should do. So I don't know what went wrong.
don't know.
As
but
I said, I think the difference is, as I said, when they get to a certain age, where they were leaving
yeah,
and
they
going
should
to
have
their
left.
own. Exactly.
And this might be to do as well with society and the fact that it's like we had the ability somehow to move out. I think even like
Yeah.
now it's harder for
Someone
kids,
to buy
adult
something, yeah.
children
Yeah.
to move
Yes,
out of their
yes,
parents'
Yeah.
house.
yes.
It's not as easy. So that might
Yes.
be part of the problem as well. It's
And
not like
I
they don't
think
want to go.
that they also look at their peers, don't they, and think, okay, well, they don't do this, so why should I have to?
I don't know about that.
I know,
We looked at, you know, our white counterparts.
Let me
and
tell you something,
we
right?
never ever thought.
One of my sons, when he was at college, and I said to him, "Oh, you've got your national insurance number now. You can get a Saturday job."
Yeah.
No movement, you know. And I thought, okay, he'll do it in his own time. Then the summer holiday came, still at home. Like, you can get a job now, you know. You've got your national insurance. And then when I was saying you need to get a job, he said, my friends at school, they don't work. They don't have a Saturday job. Why have I got to work?
Oh wow.
Right.
That was the response. And I got him a job and I sent him to work. Do you know what I mean?
This is it. I actually remember saying to my son, you know, when he got his NI card, that he needs to find a Saturday job. And I remember giving him a time scale.
Yeah, he has
And
to.
I said, you know, between now and then, whether it was, I don't know, 3 to 6 months, whatever it is. And I said, it's like, if you can't find yourself a job, then I'll find you
yes.
one.
Yeah.
And my job that I'll find for you may not like.
yeah.
So it's better if you find yourself a job.
And
And
they do.
those sort of things, I mean, obviously, and he knew that if I found him a job, he probably wouldn't want it. So it gave him the incentive to find something.
I think all mine, right, when did you get your NI in 16? It's 16, isn't it?
Yeah.
16,
They all
yeah.
were. Like, but then I think it was just always a conversation that when you get the NI, you're going to work.
But don't you want to earn money? Do you want to have something of
And they
your
were
own?
fine. They were fine.
I
They were
don't
fine.
think that was ever a problem,
No,
like
they were
the
fine.
kids not wanting to work.
Yeah.
I suppose. I mean, I know that my mum was kind of. I can actually remember her saying to me when I left school during the 6 weeks holiday, as it was coming closer to the end. I remember my mum saying to me, you know, it's either you go out and get a job, or you enroll in college, but you're not going to be lying in bed while I go to work.
There you go.
It was right there to the end. And I remember getting up the next morning and I started looking for colleges. I wasn't ready to work.
Oh, good.
Man.
So I mean, you have to take more from your mum. I mean, you have to take more from our parents because they done well with us. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's just about, as you said, same way your mum, you say, is persistent. Just got to
I-
persevere with it. You
listen.
have to persevere with our adult children.
I'm not here to be saying to adult children. I just think it's easier for them to go and venture out themselves, you know, and do their own thing. You know, it's like I just think I don't know what the solution is exactly, but I think the quick solution is get your own place, go and live your life, not argue with your parents.
But you find that children that had to go away to uni come back much more grounded and much more responsible because they all of a sudden they realise, oh, this is what adult life. I've had a taste of adult life.
Yeah, that's
They-
true. Yeah, definitely.
You've got to take responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't actually think about that.
Or sometimes they go to uni, get a taste of adult life, and realise where their bread is buttered.
Yeah. And then
And
they
think-
don't want to go.
Yeah, I've got it good here.
Yeah.
Let me just knuckle down. Right. Okay, people. We'd like to hear your what's your experience with your adult children. So do send some comments and let us know your experiences.